Today we're going to be putting AI to the test to figure out exactly what gear we need for shooting and how to get better at it. We're going to be asking ChatGPT some questions as if I was a beginner shooter. Starting off with, what do I need to start training with a pistol? First off, I'm actually really impressed with how much information is here and how accurate it seems to be. Knowing your laws, I think that's incredibly important when you're looking at getting into firearms. Safety, incredibly important also. Choosing the right pistol, something I want to look more into on ChatGPT. It's interesting, it even highlights the use case. Get training, obviously, that makes a lot of sense once you pick out what you want, the proper safety equipment. Holster training, I'm a big advocate for concealed carry. So I think this is incredibly important. Number 9, legal and ethical considerations. What it would look like actually using the handgun if you had to. Join a community. This is really awesome. I'm surprised they put this in here because joining like-minded people, you're just gonna learn a lot more. Stay informed, number 12. Things come up, like right now, the ATF rule on braces. If you didn't know that was happening, you would be a felon overnight. All in all, I think this is a really great list to point somebody in the right direction as a new shooter. Next up, I would like to take a deeper dive into what pistol somebody should buy as a new shooter. So I'm gonna ask it, what is a reliable pistol a new shooter should purchase? Number 1 is Glock 19. I would definitely agree with that. It is probably the most reliable handgun anybody can buy. Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. I would have went with the full size on this list, but that's still a great gun. Springfield Armory XDS. I would have went with the Springfield Echelon. We got the Ruger SR9. I've owned one of those. It's not a terrible gun. 5, SIG P320. We've done a lot of videos on the P320. A lot of good handguns on this list. For our purposes, we're gonna choose the Glock 19 because it's number 1 on here. And let's go ahead and ask it our next question to be more specific about this handgun. What ammo do I need to practice with a Glock 19? As a new shooter, you may not know that the Glock 19 is 9mm, so you ask the question and bam, ChatGPT gives you the correct answer. 9mm ammunition for the Glock 19, full metal jacket, bulk ammo, all correct, stuff you want to look at. Next up, I think I have a pretty good question. What equipment do I need for shooting? Obviously, we're going to need a pistol, ammunition, safety equipment, and then it starts adding a bunch of stuff that wasn't really necessary. But I did find something that was interesting. They did throw in here a timer, like a shot timer. If you're going to be a serious shooter and you want to get better at shooting, a shot timer is going to allow you to track your actual performance. Becoming a better shooter is time and accuracy. So it's really interesting that they put that in here. Obviously, as a new shooter, you may not understand that you need eye protection. You think you're just throwing bullets down range. You don't want to catch shrapnel to the eye. You don't want to catch debris to the eye. So eye protection, ear protection, and a target. It's really all you need to get going. All right, so my last question, where can I train? And we are located in Ohio, so I'm gonna put that. Okay, so it's not giving me anywhere specific, but it is telling me that there are public shooting ranges, private shooting ranges, indoor law enforcement training facilities, and something I found interesting was national forest and wildlife areas. In Ohio, to my knowledge, you're not allowed to go shoot at these wildlife areas. It's prohibited. So that might be some inaccurate information. Actually gonna ask it a more specific question and figure out exactly if there's anything in northeastern Ohio that we can go shoot at. Now it's giving me some specific facilities. So it looks like it might be throwing some inaccurate information here. You can just simply Google this and get correct information based off your location, so I'm not too worried about what it's giving me. It is kind of annoying that it's not correct, but it's given us a lot of good information so far. So I'm honestly really impressed with how much information it gave us. It all seems to be pretty accurate until we started asking about locations. So we're gonna take what we know, we're gonna take what we've learned, we're gonna go to the range, and we're gonna see exactly how it does training us. It's a little creepy how accurate this information was, but let's see how it does. All right guys, so we made it to the range. We got our gun and holster, our ammunition, and our safety equipment, ear protection, eye protection. We're gonna ask the AI what we need to do next. So let's see exactly what it wants us to do. We have our gun, safety equipment, and ammo. What do I do now? It says it's important to handle firearms safely, ensure that the gun is unloaded, familiarize yourself, and know the rules and local laws. Consider taking a safety course if you haven't, and always store a gun securely separate from the ammunition. So it didn't give me exactly what I was looking for. I'm gonna ask it another question. What kind of targets should I use at the range. It's giving me a couple examples. We got paper targets, steel targets, reactive targets, clay pigeons, and electronic targets. It put number 1 as paper targets, so we're probably gonna go ahead and use those today. It'll allow us to track our hits a little more accurately and see exactly how I am manipulating the firearm. We got 2 different kinds of paper targets. Something ChatGPT didn't mention is exactly what you need for the paper target. So we figured we'd show you guys, this is exactly what you need. You're gonna need a stapler. Something it didn't mention is tape. If you're gonna be shooting a lot, it would be nice to tape your hits. That way you know exactly the corrections of what you're making and if it's gonna be making a difference for you. We're gonna go ahead and ask AI exactly how far away we need to be from the target. How far away from the paper target should we be? Typically shooters stand ranging from 7 yards to 25 yards. Not bad. 25 yards is definitely going to be testing accuracy on a handgun for a new shooter. That's probably a bit far to start. It even talks about rifle distances and shotguns. So that's kind of nice. Can give you an idea if you're a new shooter on what the distances are for different platforms and different calibers. And it even mentions that you should always follow ranges specific guidelines and rules for safe distances. Kind of nice. It's just throwing in basic information a new shooter may not fully understand. So let's put the targets up at 7 yards and see how we do. We have all of our stuff we need. We got our hearing protection, our eye protection, ammo, gun. One thing AI forgot to mention is you actually do need a really nice belt. A leather belt isn't going to cut it. This is a concealed carry belt. Something to take into consideration is if you do carry strong side or OWB, you still really do need a nice belt. This isn't your standard Glock 19, but this is what we had at the shop. This is gonna work for all intensive purposes. From a new shooter standpoint, carrying a tier 1 concealed holster, backup magazine. Let's go ahead and ask AI what we need to do now. I have all of my gear. What do I do now? Now it's telling me that I need to review the safety rules, find a safe location, load safely. That's probably gonna be our next step here. Follow the range specific rules for loading your firearm. Always point it downrange in a safe location. Take aim, fire safely, unload and clear, and then practice regularly. It didn't tell us exactly how to load the magazine, so we're gonna go ahead and ask it. Hold the magazine, place the round position, the first round cartridge at the top of the magazine. Bullet should be pointing forward. So it is actually giving you a step-by-step how to load the magazine, which is interesting. I kind of figured it was gonna be vague, but it's a pretty nice step-by-step. So push down, bullet facing forward. Be nice if we had a speed loader here. Something again, ChatGPT did not tell us. It says you're supposed to insert the magazine once it is loaded. Chamber around, rack the slide. And then it just says always follow manufacturer's instructions for your specific firearm. So the gun's loaded. Let's go ahead and shoot 15 rounds. The gun is clear. Go ahead and insert the magazine and reholster. I'm really interested to see why they told us we needed a shot timer. So I think I might ask it a question. I have completed that. What drills should I do now? So it's telling me we should perform dry fire practice. Dry fire is important, but if you're on the range, don't waste your time with dry fire. Reload drills, malfunction drills, draw and fire drills, shooting on the move, multiple shots, low light shooting. So it's just kind of giving us a broad description of what drills are out there. Let's ask it a more specific question and see if it can give us an actual drill. So it took a couple tries, but I finally got it after about the 4th try. I asked it, explain me a drill that I can use to get better at shooting my Glock 19. And it gave me the Glock 19 3x3 drill. So you want to draw, present, shoot 3 rounds as accurate as you can at 3 yards, and then step it back to 5, and then step it back to 7. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit so that we have emphasis on accuracy. See how we do. Slowed it down quite a bit. We got pretty much all 3 rounds touching. This one's a scotch away. We pretty much want all 3 rounds touching at this close of a distance. So let's go ahead and load 3 more rounds and step it back to the 5-yard mark. 3 rounds touching, what we'd expect at 5 yards. Let's go ahead and load 3 more, step it back to 7. I believe it was these 3 here. Tried to pick up the pace a little bit. Probably should have slowed it down, focused a little more on accuracy. But for this case, to keep the video going, we're going to ask it, what is a great drill we can do with a shot timer? Yep, first thing, build drill. Perfect when you're trying to figure out how to be fast. It's not gonna put a lot of emphasis on accuracy, but it is going to put it on speed. Begin with your holster, your firearm holstered. on the buzzer, so it does mention shot timer. So we went ahead and asked it what exactly is a good time to shoot for, like what's a good standard. And it actually, it's really nice. It gives you a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced standard. We got 6 rounds loaded up. Let's see what we can do. A little bit better on that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5A zone, a C zone in the neck. We got a 2.34 on the time, so a little bit faster. Still not advanced by any means, but I'm happy with what I got. So I was actually pretty impressed with how AI did. As a new shooter, I wouldn't jump right to it. You can use Google to get a little bit more precise information, but it did pretty good. If you guys like this video, we'd appreciate a like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.